The Shift podcast, perspective and our power to change, invites us to expand our lives by changing the lens we see through. Is something different calling you? Do you ever ask yourself, is this all there is? Or have you forgotten why you're even here? Trish and Diane create insightful and empowering conversations about connecting the self, soul, nature, and community. Navigating life by choice rather than circumstance is how we make the shift to expand our humanity. The shift starts now.
Welcome in, everybody, to the 24th episode of The Shift, Perspective and Your Power to Change. This is Diane McClay and my co-host Trish Campbell, and we are super excited to have you join us on this Friday. As always, we get to empower you through choice, and today we are celebrating a one-year anniversary of our podcast, and we're going to flip the script. We're going to turn the tables. We're going to give you a different perspective. Whereas you normally just see Trish and I on the screen, we have the honor and the privilege of bringing in our producer, the man who makes us look and sound good on the show. Jacob Kappes is the regional producer and marketing associate for Transformation Talk Radio. He graduated from Washington State University with a degree in media production and has a passion for storytelling. Jacob believes that everyone has a story that's worth telling, and every story deserves to be heard. Some of his favorite activities are watching at his favorite soccer team from Liverpool, guitar playing with his band Tons and Tons, which we're going to highlight today, and exploring nature with his wife. During the summer, he films and edits weddings whenever possible, and he enjoys a good beer and a good restaurant with good friends at any time. Jacob, Trish, welcome in. We didn't normally do our land acknowledgement. We'll get to that towards the end of the show, but we are so honored to be able to flip the script and look behind the scenes about what makes TTR great. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on the show with you guys right now.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
And so we'll do a quick land acknowledgement right now. Trish and I always start off with acknowledging the places that we currently live and work from and make money from. And we realize that we can't be where we are today without the beautiful land stewardship that happened from the people who resided here before us. And so in my region of the world, I just like to do a quick acknowledgement of the 5 tribes of the Chinook Nation, the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde, which are 32 different tribes, the Cowlitz, the Confederated Tribes of the Warm Springs, the 14 tribes of the Yakama Nation, and the Cayuse, Umatilla, and Walla Walla people of the Umatilla Nation. Trish, do you want to acknowledge the people that came before you in your part of the world?
Yes, thanks, Diane, for bringing this in, as we always do. And we operate our lives in this way to not just open our show with it. So for myself, I'm coming to you from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, and that is the traditional lands and treaty territories of the Mississauga of the Credit First Nations, the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Huron-Wendat, and the Ojibwe Chippewa. And as we always do, we honor you and your stewardship and your connection to Mother Earth, like Diane said, that allows us these opportunities to come here today and be with you and live our lives. So grateful.
Yeah, that's great, Trish. Thank you. Man, this is like an exciting episode because a year ago we had this idea of doing a podcast about trying to open people's perspectives and change their perceptions about how things happen in the world. We've talked about a lot of things, but today we're really going to just talk about creativity and what happens behind the scenes at TTR, give people a little sneak peek behind that. But Jacob, let's talk with you a little bit about kind of real quick, what are a couple of the things that you see from your chair as a producer? You obviously produce a lot of shows, you've had a lot of people come and go. Maybe just give us a little quick highlight reel, and then also tell us, why do you like doing this type of work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get to see everything from the conception of the idea through the full creative process. So if you see on the screen, the little graphics that pop up with our names, I've talked to you and we've kind of landed on some colors. And so I get to be part of that in creation of like just all the little bits and pieces that pop up in shows. But what I really love doing is getting to know the host. So getting to know you, Diane, and you, Trish, over the last 15 months I've been here now. You get to see everything from the ideas that get nixed to the ideas that are like yet to come. Yeah, and it's just fun to kind of see this idea turn into like, it's like a little baby almost. It's like, I know people really care about what they're talking about. And so to kind of just come alongside them and say, hey, what can we do to make this a reality? What can we do to get your message across in a way that is well received. And so I just love that. And especially at the beginning of shows, when I have my 2-3 minutes to chat with you guys, it was, we're talking about the outtakes. It's all recorded. I get to see the hiccups, and that's just, so fun to be part of.
Yeah,
and that I was just gonna say real quick, that kind of speaks to the imperfection piece, right, Trish?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And we come in here and Diane said, we're really casual. We're, just go with the flow kind of thing. But I love that interaction we have too before our show. And it really helps us get in the right energy for allowing the conversation to flow. So it's always good to have you have our backs and make us look good. And we know, everything is going to be just so well done. So I love that you get to see, from concept stage to the end result and the entire process. That is so beautiful. And so just, I just feel the energy and excitement that, when you talk about that. So is there something like that stands out for you in the process, or any special moments that you want to share, just being behind the scenes, or anything at all, like to give our listeners a glance behind, what goes on that they
Yeah.
don't see.
So yeah, I mean, you get this show for 30 minutes once a week, right?
Mhm.
I like you mentioned before, Diane, I meet with a lot of different clients. But what people don't really know is that the process takes a long time. So, for our traditional hosts, they kind of do their 1-hour shows, and we do the full production from the beginning.
Mhm.
I'm meeting with them 2 or 3 months before the actual show start date. And so it's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of Zoom meetings. I'll get people that pop up and they just have a phone. And by the end of, 2-3 weeks later, they've got the camera and the microphone, and it's starting to really sound professional. And so the thing for me that it really it tickles me is when someone gets really high quality microphone. I've heard them on the bad Zoom quality, or their flip phone or something, and then all of a sudden
Mhm.
it's like, oh, you sound like you're in a studio now. It's just
Yeah,
beautiful.
I love
uh,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
What I'm getting from that is there's really kind of a transformation. Like one
Mhm.
of the things that the producing staff and the rest of the support staff at TTR, because it's not just producers, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there's marketing people, there are copy and script writing people that help with the intro and the outro. There are people who help with the graphics, right? This is a big team. Transformation Talk Radio is a big team of people. But what I'm really hearing is that literally you're embodying the concept of transformation from beginning to end, from the beginning of a creative piece to the end of a creative piece, from the beginning of the year of a show to the end of the year of a show,
Mhm.
like Trish
Yeah.
and I are doing. I can only imagine that feels really empowering to actually facilitate someone's growth and their messaging.
Yeah, I always like to make a joke with people that, this is your show, and at the end of the day, I'm also the one kind of controlling everything. And there's some power in that. And obviously I don't exercise that in a negative way, but yeah, it's really great to see how the whole team comes together. So, you've probably spoken with Linda, who's our sort of executive producer, and she's like
Mhm.
the gatekeeper. She knows every detail about everybody. And so I get an email from her, and it's like, okay, this person needs this. And it's like, she knows from the top down exactly what's going on at all levels. And I just kind of get the front end, like personal interaction and experience. And so I'm really grateful for that. But I also wouldn't be able to do it without all the people in the other rooms here. It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I totally I love that. And understanding, all the things we ourselves don't get to see. And I want to talk a little bit about, or kind of segue what you're doing, helping share stories in this way through all the different podcasts that you help produce, ours included. And segue that into how you bring that into your life outside of this
Mhm.
space, outside of your 9 to 5, and really open up and have fun with the creativity aspect of that. And I know we've talked about before behind the scenes that you have a band,
Yeah.
and it's called Tons and Tons. So I'd like to hear more about that, how that came into existence, and how it's evolved, and all the things you do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So to that point, one thing I want to bring up as far as storytelling goes, and I'm hearing all these people come in with their life stories and their
Hmm.
different perspectives on the world. For me, what I can do is I can find a way to tap into the emotion of that all, and really it comes from my background in communication with my degree, media production and communication. And what I've learned in college was that the best way to interact and to engage with people is to tap into the emotion. People respond when their emotions are engaged and their senses can feel what you're trying to communicate. So I try to apply that to everything I do here. How can I draw someone in by, relating to where they're at in their life, whatever that might be. And when I do that in my personal life, I get to go home and, make music. And that's like, at its essence is emotionally enticing and engaging. And I really try to apply that sort of storytelling component to all of that. But that's a little bit up in the stratosphere as far as like a concept goes, but that's sort of the idea.
Can I tag in on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've talked about in almost every show, and especially with Trish's book, Love Me, and the poetry that comes with that, and the movement that Trish is trying to bring into the corporate world, is about bringing that humanity in. And I think what you talk about, that storytelling and connecting to the emotion, I think that's the story that we've been trying to put together in all of our episodes, is that you have to have awareness about what you are feeling. And then once you have that awareness, then you can start making small changes, big changes. You can start really living a more free and authentic life. And I love the fact that you're saying that part of your passion in the world is really curating those stories and then putting them to music, and then transforming the story so that other people could bring it back into their lives through a different way.
Yeah, I love that. What I love about your show is that when you see a finished product of anything, really, it's been polished, it's been, examined closely. All the fine details are really intentionally placed, right? What you're doing is you're allowing that emotion to come out. And so it's like, it's imperfect at times, right? But it's authentic. And for me, I think there's a balance between, yeah, it's nice when something looks perfect and it's polished and clean, but if you can really sense the emotion behind the creator or the person and start to see their story in there, it might not look so polished and clean, but that to me is going to be what really connects people to each other.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Our stories help us connect with each other, and it's so healing in any, and I'm all about that. But it's so beautiful how you have that passion and that connection to the emotion and our humanity in your 9 to 5, and then you have it like literally in every aspect of your life with all that you're creating. So that's living that's living life full out, as Dr. Pat calls it. So, living the full human experience. And I just love that. I would love to, hear more about, we wanted to talk about what you're doing with Tons and Tons and just your creativity in general and that connection to yourself and to everyone through the storytelling.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are songwriters, when they come together, there's this idea that it's like the 3-in-1 rule. So you write 3 songs for people and you write 1 for yourself. And I think that's a good rule to kind of live by if you're trying to really like monetize your music career, right? But at the same time, I think it's important that you are able to share your story, because it is your art. At the end of the day, it's your art. It's an expression of who you are. So with Tons and Tons, when we write music together, we get into a room and it's nonsense, really. It's like totally imperfect. Like we're all just kind of just messing around, making noise. But towards the end of that, those sessions, we start to kind of bring our ideas together. Musically, that's where we sort of, it's like a sandbox where we just kind of get to play and have fun, and then something comes out of it. When it comes down to the lyrics, that's where things get really kind of intense. And you as a poet know, when you're writing, it can be really hard to say what you want to say in a way that communicates what you're feeling, but also is, pleasing to listen to or pleasing to read. So that for me is the trickiest part of the whole process. And I'm lucky that I have 3 other band members who can bounce ideas off each other and say, hey, that kind of sucks, but not in a way that makes me feel bad, because it's not personal, right?
Right.
Well, you said pleasing to listen to, and that makes me think, I know you brought some music that we could share with our listeners. Do you have a piece that is close to your heart or fun or something that you'd like to bring up and then talk about a little bit? We could play a little piece so that people can be exposed to it.
Yeah,
And while you're bringing it up, they can find you on Spotify, right? Under Tons and Tons with the ampersand.
that's right. Yep. Yeah, so that's where you can find us. On Instagram, it's _tons and tons _. But I've got a piece of Moonrise, which I know Trish
Oh,
really
I love
enjoys.
that. And
I
we're just
like it
heading
too.
into a new moon. Perfect.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna just play a short piece here.
All the time that I was searching came undone. Now I'm fighting for a feeling that I've won. To make it all.
All right, were you able to hear that?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I love
Okay,
that.
great.
I got chills. I
Okay,
love the
great.
lyrics. Like there's no worry about it resonating or any, if it sucks or not, because it's so beautiful. The everything, the whole combination of the melody and the music, the arrangement, all of it. Yeah.
And I got chills too. Like I have listened to I've listened to a lot of other of your songs more, but every time I dip into a new one, I feel like even though I've listened to some of your songs 3 or 4 or 6 or 10 times, I feel like every time I tune into it, there's a different stanza, there's a different lyric, there's a different emotion that comes out for me. And that's probably the 3rd time I've heard Moonrise, and chills all over my body.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much. And then a little backstory, fun tidbit, not so much about the writing process of that song, but hopefully one day you can both see us play live. But that is the song we start every show with, actually, because what you don't hear in that part I showed you, it's a really high energy song. Like the beginning is just kind of heavy hitting, just driving. And we put that at the beginning of our set intentionally because it's what gets people to step away from the bar and move towards the stage. It's one of those ones where I like physically can really let out a lot of energy on stage. I'm pretty expressive as far as like jumping around and kind of just being a riot. So that song just gets me pumped up. And yeah, that's a little anecdote for that one.
Yeah, I love that. I totally felt that hearing it. Even just now, I've heard it a lot. I think I said to you the last show that I've had your song in my head and just kind of singing it in my. But it does give you that energy of like. So I see why you open the show with that, because it's got that. It really has a gravitational pull. At least for me, it does, and I love that. I'm so happy you shared that.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
I mentioned Wake Up, and I don't know if you could pull that up, if you have that on cue, or you could pull up just kind of the beginning real quick, but that's kind of one that I feel like I can just totally start bobbing my head to.
Yeah.
Can you pull that up, and then I'll share my observation about it?
Yep. Here we go right here. There you go.
Yeah.
And I start to wake up, and in my dreams, you're still quiet there, and I just found a way to say it.
I actually feel like that could be the introduction, and when we go into season 2, feeling like we're waking up. And I think this is about kind of a love song, but the stanza that sticks out to me is I start to wake up and open up to the world that's around me.
I love it.
Right. And that's kind of the essence of shifting perspective. Is if you can wake up and start noticing what's happening around you, and you can take that information in, and then you can change the meaning, the perception that you apply to whatever it is you have, the world is your oyster at that point. So I'm super stoked with that beat in the background. That's like one of my go-to songs on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, I love that. I love that song is so it's kind of messy. There's that part where everything kind of crashes out, right? But then you wake up and it's new, and you can kind of move forward. And it's just a shift in perspective, not to throw that down, but.
Yeah, and one of the other lines in there is, watch me come down, making all the right things wrong again. But really, when I first heard that, I was hearing making all the wrong things right again. So it was my interpretation of your music. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the fun stuff behind the scenes, sort of the tips and tricks, the things that sort of really bring that, not just the musical creativity to life, but the videos that people can catch on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to talk about this. Okay, so we've got 2 music videos out right now. One is How Do You Feel, which is classically kind of our more popular song. It's what we end our shows with. And I don't know if you remember back in the day, the mannequin challenge from
Yeah.
Yes, when I saw the video, I was like, what was that challenge called? I remember, yeah, because it reminded me of that. So
Yeah, so we got a bunch of people. It was in college and it was kind of popular at the time. And so the singer in the band, Eric, he had this idea for the video, and he went to bed one day and woke up and he's like, I had a dream about a video, and he like in 20 minutes wrote down all these details, and the whole video changed from his original idea, which honestly, I don't even remember what that was because we just nixed it. And then 2 weekends later, we were in that house and we had all these people. And so you do like the whole mannequin challenge thing. And then, as the camera's kind of slowly panning because it's all shot in one shot, he gets to the kitchen and everyone on the other side that has been passed is moving around and rearranging. We had all of our music equipment set into a side room, and we had like 10 people run in, grab pieces of the drum kit, set it up as fast as they could, and then you turn the corner and then there we are playing and everyone else is frozen again, but they're like, watching the show. And then it kind of pans away, and then we just kind of drop our instruments and walk downstairs, and then it comes up onto a TV. And that was really fun for me because from like a video production standpoint, having a green screen is just licensed for fun and freedom to just kind of go wild with it. And so you see on the TV, we're all standing there, but we're all wearing goofy outfits, and then it's like we're like floating through space. Like it's like one of those Zoom virtual background kind of vibes, like just totally wacky and weird. But that was just a really cool experience to kind of play with some tips, or not play with some tricks, and just make it fun.
So I'm hearing things like play and having fun, and the under message is like not being worried about perfectionism. What would you tell our listening audience? Like, what can you translate as a take home message for them as an artist, a musician, a producer? What's something that they could apply to their lives today to feel a little more free, or to be not quite as constrained by the system or by the rules?
Yeah, love that. Life is so serious. Like there are so many things that happen that like a lot of them are good, but a lot of them require our attention, and it creates stress and anxiety. And it's just, that's like the anti-creative kind of energy that you get in your life. But we all have that. And so my advice is to breathe, take a second, and try not to take everything so seriously. Go have fun with it. Go set aside time for yourself to be creative, whether that's physically expressing yourself, or through writing or music or singing or dancing, whatever it is. Just do it. It doesn't have to be good. The way it makes you feel is the most important part. There are things that I have to worry about with band stuff. Like I have to be at a practice at a certain time, and I have to know my parts. But when I can allow myself to enjoy that and have fun with it, that's when the people really latch onto it. They can tell that you are having fun. They can tell that you love what you do, and that to me is just invaluable. And again, it doesn't have to be amazing. You don't have to like go platinum and sell a million records. Just do it because you love it. So.
I think that's what holds a lot of people back, is they think it has to look a certain way, it has to sound a certain way, it has to be perfect before they even put themselves out there to do it. And what I hear you saying is you're just going with the flow. And yeah, there's imperfection in that, because where the creativity is coming from your soul, and the soul doesn't know right or wrong. It just knows it's meant to go somewhere. So sometimes that's a twisty, turny, squiggly path, and that's the beauty of it, because everything gets us to where we're meant to be ultimately anyways. And so I love that you're just allowing yourself, like you said, giving yourself permission to just be in that flow. And that's beautiful. I love it. And I love that how it feels, and what you've shared with us today. It's like you try to create that in every aspect of your life, and it really comes through. So I love that. Yeah. I love that we're highlighting you and talking about sharing your story in this way, because I think it's going to inspire a lot of people.
Well, thanks so much. I love that. And I love what you said about permission. Like, just allow yourself to do it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have another piece that you want to do a quick little introduction on?
Yeah, let me pull up, Talk About It. This one is our most recent release. It's gonna take a second to pull it up here.
I love Talk About It. That's what we're doing here.
Right.
All right. And here we go.
If you say we can talk it out.
Okay, so talk about it. This was written in 2019 in the basement of our house in Bothell, Washington. And we recorded it at Robert Lang Studios in Shoreline. And that holds a really special place in my heart because that's where Nirvana recorded, Death Cab for Cutie, Dave Matthews Band, Foo Fighters, like all of these giants and legends of the music industry recorded at the studio. And I'll keep it quick because I know we're running out of time here, but it was just like so cool to walk through that. It's like it's this mansion and it's just got all these rooms, and it was during this huge snowstorm, so we were kind of camped out there for 2 days just playing music for 10 hours straight, and it was just such a fun experience. And actually the shirt I'm wearing, the Tons and Tons shirt, I'm gonna turn around really fast. You can see the back.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
cool.
Nice.
Very nice.
That is the waveform of that song, actually. So when we made these shirts, that is the Talk About It song, just kind of in the little sound waves that you see.
That's
Yeah,
so cool. I love how you describe the being in that studio and all the energies that must still be lingering in there from that being in that space. It's like, wow. What are your do you have plans for doing live shows again now that things are going live and in person? What's going on with that?
Yes, we are actively booking right now and just trying to get a schedule and a plan down. We started practicing again. We have a plan to shoot another music video here in a couple of weeks. But yes, stay tuned for that. All of that will be available on our website. I will let both of you know, of course, as soon as that happens. We have a show in Bellingham pretty soon that I think will definitely play out. So that's close to the border. I'm not sure if that's, we're close to you, Trish, but.
Well, I'm coming out there in a couple weeks, so I don't know when your show is,
Okay.
but yeah. But yeah, hope to see you live someday soon. So where can people again find you? Let's reiterate your Instagram, YouTube, website.
Yeah. Tons and Tons on Instagram is _tons and tons _. For me, you can go to jacobkappes.com or at Hello Kappes on Instagram, and I will be reposting all of our updates on there as well.
Yeah, and we'll have it in the show notes as well.
And the last plug I'd make is Transformation Talk Radio and the Cornelia Stephanie Media Group are always looking for people who want to tell their story. So if you are out there and you have a story to tell and you want people to help you put it together, connect with Trish or I through the Cornelia Stephanie Media Group app. And basically we can connect you to the amazing Daniel, the amazing Jacob Kappes, or any of the other producers at Transformation Talk Radio. And we can help you get your story out there so that you can shift the perspective and create change in your life. As always, it starts with you. It starts with us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Shift podcast, where perspective and our power to change intersect. Slowing down to look at things from a different angle is necessary to affect positive change. You hold the power to transform yourself and your life. It is already inside you and it's within reach. Clarity comes from awareness. Momentum comes from choice. Healing, growth, and transformation happen on the Shift podcast. The first and third Fridays at 12:30 p.m. Pacific. For more information, go to invibe.ca or dianemcclay.com.